There's never enough time to get anything done. I have Susan with me. Susan, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from and what you do.
Hi, I'm Susan Poisson. I'm from Michigan, and I have been in the administrative field for nearly 30 years, and I've been a tech VA for the past almost 10 years now.
Holy crud. So she's been around for a while.
For a little bit, yeah.
So there aren't many of us, especially in the VA world, who have been doing VA services for more than 5 years. Like, I don't run into too many of us. So I've been doing this for I actually counted 27 years. So I'm almost where Susan is. But I've been in the small business world as a VA, as a CEO or CEO for hire for 25 plus years now. And it is so important to know who to hire and how to hire. And this is why I brought Susan on. Susan and I work and collaborate together for clients. I help with her clients. She helps with some of my clients. We work together a lot and we help each other whenever possible. How is hiring somebody going to work when you are ready to make that step? And I went through last week what a VA is, what a tech VA is, what an OBM is, what a social media manager is, social media content creator is. There's a big difference on who you need to hire. And Susan and I were just talking about this. She has a VA hiring and training Facebook group. And getting people to understand how to be hired, I think, is one of the bigger questions. There are so many VAs that I know listen to me. So what are your top 3 tips for getting hired, Susan?
Top 3 tips for getting hired as a VA. I would say first and foremost, when you apply to someone's VA position, make sure you're following all the directions. You're networking in Facebook groups and on social media, and that's great. And I tell all the VAs I train this, do not do drive-by postings. Don't jump into a group and just drop your link randomly everywhere. Someone says, hey, I'm hiring a VA, and you just drop a link. Don't do that. Make sure you take time to learn about the person you're going to be working with potentially, and learn more about what they do. So don't go into these groups and just drop drive-by links. Make sure that you're getting in touch with, what they're doing, and then address that in your application. If they have an application or a form they have you fill out, make sure that you are addressing that, and tailor if you're sending them an email, tailor that to them. Don't make it vague and generic. All that's going to do is end up in trash, honestly. And then I would say the next step is make sure that you do your own due diligence and learn everything you can about what they need, what their position description says, before you go into the interview or the discovery call. Make sure you address those points in the discovery call or the interview. If they need social media management and email management and calendar management, let's just say that, make sure that you're asking the right questions in the interview. What calendar system are you using? What social media platforms are you active on? What would you like to see happen? Engage them in the interview and not just answer their questions. Make sure that you're making them aware that you've looked them up and you would like to know more about their business and what they do, but that you've also taken time to do your own due diligence and make sure that you know what they're looking for in their position. And then as far as step 3 is, once you are hired, we're talking about getting hired, but once you are hired, make sure you keep the engagement and the conversation flowing with the client. Don't be the person that just kind of sits back and waits for them to feed you information. Ask. Ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Communication styles vary from client to client. You're going to find some clients that like very little communication, and that's fine if that works for you. But then you're going to find some that almost over communicate. So you're going to have to kind of find a happy medium where you're getting the information you need to do the work and the client is happy. They're not being bombarded with questions, but they're happy with the amount of, exchange going on.
Absolutely. So when you're looking to hire somebody, what is the one thing for somebody that's going to hire you as a tech VA? What's one thing that drives you crazy about somebody hiring you that just drives you nuts, that they aren't able to communicate to you? What do you wish your potential client knew?
Oh my goodness. I think the biggest thing is, and it's not really a problem. It's part of the learning curve. When you are hired in as a VA, there's always a learning curve because you're working with someone you've never worked with before, in most cases, and you don't know what their personality really is. You don't know what they're looking for, or what their expectations are. Obviously, in the discovery call, you can set up a few expectations, but you don't really get to know those expectations in full until you start working, and then you start setting up those expectations. I think the biggest thing that I've run into is that clients quite often don't know what they need. They don't know what they're hiring me for. I mean, they know they want what I've got, they want my skills, but they don't know how to put them into play, and they don't realize quite how much can be done until we start working together. And sometimes it feels a little bit like pulling teeth to get that information. Because if the client doesn't really know what they need, then it's hard for them to tell me, and they're so used, many times entrepreneurs are used to just doing it all themselves. And so when they hire a VA for the first time, they may not realize how much a VA really can do. And of course, the amount that a VA can do varies from one VA to the next, depending on your skill set. But they don't really realize what a VA can do. And sometimes they're just afraid to ask. So you need to make sure they're aware when you hire in with someone, hey, I can do this. If you find something that you're doing that is a real time suck for you and you don't like it, you don't enjoy it, and you'd like to hand it off, but you're not sure you can, ask me. If I can't do it, I'll tell you. And on that point, I also want to say as well to people who are looking to be VAs or looking to get hired as a VA, make sure you are communicating with your client and telling them, hey, this isn't in my wheelhouse. This isn't something that I can do. And either A, I'm willing to learn it if you're willing to work with me on that, or B, I'll find someone who knows how.
That is a big thing that I have found.
That's huge.
I've been doing this a long time, hired staff. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's going to lie to me and say they know how to do something, and then it's obvious they don't, I am not going to, whether you were good at something else or not, you no longer are going to work for me because you just proved you aren't trustworthy in my business. Right. So just be honest.
That's the same thing. Like I was saying, if you don't know how to do it, you need to tell them. It doesn't reflect badly on you that you don't know how to do it. You don't have to know how to do everything that they ask you to do. If you don't know how to do something, don't say, hey, I can do that, and then go Google how to do it. Tell them up front, I don't know how to do this, but I'm willing to learn if that's okay with you. If they're not okay with that, then tell them, hey, I'll look for someone who can do it. And as a VA, your network starts to grow and you start to learn. Join VA groups on Facebook. You start to network with other VAs. You'll find someone who's able to do those things that you can't, or that you're still learning to do, but you're not really good at yet. So it's okay to keep learning while you're doing the work. And as a VA, you're always learning, always.
There's always something new to learn.
Yeah, there's always something new. Technology is constantly changing. So if you tell the client you don't know how to do it, it doesn't reflect badly on you. It just means, hey, I'm being totally transparent and honest here. This isn't in my wheelhouse, but I'll find someone who can do it, or I'll learn how.
And I think that's the biggest thing for me as a business owner. I'm also a VA. So I have been, I was an executive assistant when I started out. So I have been doing this a super, super long time before there was internet, people. Okay. Right. So I've been doing this a long time. But I'll have a VA if I ask somebody to do something. They're like, well, I don't know how to do that, but I'm willing to learn. Awesome. I'll even show you how to do it. And I have clients. I had a client the other day that I was like, wow, that's not something I know how to do. And she's like, I think that's the first time that's ever happened. I've worked with her for 2 years. And I said, yes, but I do know the person that can do this. Let me reach out to them and they can help us. And she's like, oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me that you didn't know how to do something. She had a VA before that said she knew how to do everything and didn't. And then she had to pay me for it took us 3 months to clean everything up.
Right.
Don't do that to a client.
Another thing I see is that there's a huge lack of SOPs out there, and SOP is a standard operating procedure. There's a huge lack of SOPs, and what an SOP does is basically gives all the basic steps to do the work the way the client wants it done. This is a service that I offer my clients just as natural part of what I do for them. When I'm doing your tasks, I'm creating SOPs on how you want it done. So if something happens, I have to be gone, for an extended period of time. I go on vacation or I become ill or whatever, or someone else needs to step in. They have a set of instructions and they can do it themselves. Not having those SOPs in place just means the next person you hire or the person who has to fill in, or you as the client, if you have to do some of these tasks yourself, in an emergency situation, there's no instructions. And someone else is coming into this blind. I mean, they just have no idea. And so I'm working with several clients right now doing exactly that, setting up their SOPs so that as we do these tasks, we can set up SOPs so someone down the road isn't coming into this without knowing what they're doing.
Absolutely. And something I tell potential clients before you even hire a VA, spend 2 weeks, a minimum of 2 weeks, writing everything you're doing down and how to do it.
Right.
Because
exactly.
Then you at least have a start of what you need, who you need, what you want, a kind of a job description. And if you're writing those steps down, you started writing those SOPs, which are very overwhelming to a lot of people.
Yep.
But it's really not as complicated as it seems or sounds.
Well, and an easy way to do this is, and it's kind of a nice feature to have too in an SOP, is what I'll do is I'll do a Loom video. Loom is a screen recorder. And I'll do a Loom video. And what that does is while I'm doing the job or doing the task, I'm doing a Loom video and and I'm explaining verbally what I'm doing. And then the video goes with the SOP, but then I can take the content of the video and type it out. Mm-hmm. So you have both. You have a video SOP and then you have written too.
And even if you only have time to screen record as you do the project and can't voice over and explain anything you're doing, that could be one of your VA's first tasks is to turn that into a written SOP.
Yeah. Transcribe that. Yep, exactly. Exactly. And that's the one thing that I see. I come in and I find clients that just don't have any written procedures in place. And they know how to do it themselves because they've been doing themselves, or they created the task with another VA who's no longer in the picture. And now the new VA doesn't know how to do it because it was in the old VA's head.
Yes.
The previous VA, created it. That's great. But there's no written procedures in place. So you're walking into this blind and yes, you have the skill set to do the work, but you don't know how the client wants it done. So you need to know how they want it done.
Exactly. And any VA, as you walk into a position, you always should be preparing that client for you being unavailable.
Exactly.
And
it's not about making yourself replaceable. Let me drop that in there.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of VAs that are like, I've actually had VAs tell me I'm afraid to give them SOPs or instructions because I want to do all the work myself, and I'm afraid they're going to replace me if I do this. And it's like, no, you're not really making yourself replaceable. This is helpful. And, VA relationships come and go. If you're coming into the VA industry or the field and not realizing that, you're really setting yourself up for failure. Clients come and go.
So I have 2 clients that I've had very long term. I have one client I've had 10 plus years. I have another client I've had a couple of years. But for the most part, my clients come and go. And this comes back to a business strategy discussion.
Exactly.
50% of the businesses that fail in their first year. And,
right.
And as women owned businesses, we have things that get in the way of us being able to consistently grow our businesses. Coaches especially come and go. I hate to say that, but coaches come and go very, very, very fast.
Yes,
and a pandemic happens and nobody can afford to pay you anymore, and you
Right,
have to go look for new
exactly.
clients.
Yeah.
A client has a baby and decides that she just doesn't want to go back to work and be hustling in her business. I mean, so
Right.
many things affect this. So it's
Yeah.
not that you're a horrible person. It's not that you are bad at your job. Small business world, and I've been in the small business world 20 something years, is full of clients who close the doors. I probably, out of 100 clients this year, I've had 25, I think, or 30 close their doors permanently this year.
Right. Right.
It's nothing I did.
And that's just, it's the time that we're living in, unfortunately. And I did see the same thing when the pandemic hit. I had a couple of months where some of my clients just basically fell off the map. I mean, they were still around, but they just weren't able to work because their clients had to put everybody just froze.
Yep.
Because we didn't know what was going to happen. That everything was so uncertain and unsteady that we just didn't know what was going to happen. So once we got like into month 3 or 4 of the pandemic, when you got April, May, things started to slowly move again. And we started seeing clients coming back, and we started seeing clients looking for VAs because people started to realize, okay, this isn't the end of the world. It seemed like it at first. This is not the end of the world. Yes, it's difficult. It's more difficult than anything most of us have gone through. But it is not. I mean, as business owners, it's been a tough time, but it's getting better.
Yeah, it is.
And people are moving online. These people that have been hesitating to hire VAs before are now hiring them left and right. Because it's busy and they need help. So,
but they need help that understands. I think one of the biggest things that I see in the VA world is how to hire, who to hire, is be honest about who you're looking for in the first place. If you as a business owner don't know who you want, figure that out before you try to hire something. Because when you hire a VA and you don't know who you want, you're setting yourself up for failure and the VA up for failure.
Right.
But
and that ends up being disappointing for both of you.
Yeah, exactly. And also know who you want to work with. Who's your ideal client? Right. You have to figure. I mean, I preach that here on the show all the time. Know who your ideal client is. Because when you don't know what your skill set is and have that nailed down, don't just say, oh, I can be a VA. I could do this. Well, are you sure? Mm-hmm. Do you have the online experience? I come, again, from a world from before there was internet. Yes, I feel old when I say that.
I know, I do too.
But some of those skills absolutely carry over. But email marketing was not a thing when I started.
Yeah.
Social media, I was one of the first 10 people on Twitter. That was the first social media platform. That was not a thing when I started. There are so many skills that are not the same when you go from being physically in an office as a VA or as a secretary or an administrator to being online. Take a client who at a discount or for free to learn how to do some things, but be honest that, hey, I've never done this before, but I want to learn.
Right.
Reach out to Susan, reach out to me. We both have training resources, and I take VA interns on to train them how to be VAs. I
also offer mentoring. So that's, kind of the same.
I also offer coaching and mentoring and things like that. Susan and I both have so many resources for this to help a VA get started. And I know when somebody interns with me, they end up with 3 to 5 reviews by the time they're done. And they've touched 5 different email marketing programs, 20 different scheduling for social media. They've written content. They've done some tech work, and we walk them through all kinds of things and help them figure out what it is they want to do. A VA is easy if you have the skills. A VA can be hard if you aren't spending the time and investing the time into learning how to do it.
Exactly. And the various, roles that a VA can play, from, just admin VA all the way up to tech VA. Then you have OBM, which is a whole different thing, social media manager. There's so many different roles you can play. Some of us prefer to do a lot of it, and not just, one narrow field. I'm a tech VA because I enjoy the tech work. But I also, I can do social media management. I can do email marketing. I can do, there's a lot of things I can do. I just don't narrow it down to doing just that.
And you will find that there are some of us that do a lot. I am an OBM. I have some tech VA stuff because my background is in IT. So my tech level is Susan does some tech that I have no clue how to do. And then I do other tech that Susan wouldn't have.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah.
But so we each have our own skill sets, but make sure you know what that skill set is. Because that is a big thing that I'm seeing in the VA world is they're like, well, I could help you with anything. No, you can't. Because I guarantee you that if I handed you and said, I need 60 social media posts written for this health coach in her words and with her branding, and you have to do it in 2 hours, 90% of the VAs out there can't do that. And that's fine. That's not a problem. But I can also go to Susan. Hey, Susan, my website is broken and I don't know how to fix it. And Susan could do that in 2 seconds flat, where it would take me 12 hours. Mostly because I have zero patience.
But that's part of knowing who to hire and when to hire them. When you are to the point where you're so frustrated with your business because you're doing all the busy stuff on the back end of the business and you're not enjoying it, then it's time to hire help. It's time to bring in help. Do you have to hire an entire team? No, you can start slow. Start with a VA or a tech VA or, whoever, social media manager, wherever your pain point is. Where is the point in your business where you're just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Is it your social media management? Is that what's lacking? Is that the part of your business that's suffering because you don't want to do it? Then it's time to hire someone to do that. Do you have memberships or, digital courses you want to launch, but you don't know the first thing about setting those up and you don't want to know? That's the one thing I kind of find it humorous that I've had clients actually tell me, do you know how to do this? And I say, yeah, sure, I can do that for you. And they're like, I don't want to know how to do it. You do it. But I don't even want to learn.
And I'll tell you, as a business owner, that is one of the most amazing places to be. I don't even want to know what you're doing. Just do it and hand it to me and tell me it works.
Just show
That's
me the
awesome.
We're done. Yep.
But make sure that, if you need social media content written, make sure that you're hiring a social media VA or a social media strategist. As a social media, I own a digital marketing agency. So as a digital marketing agency owner, it drives me nuts that people will hire a VA to write your content and then they complain that they're not getting anything. Well, that's because you didn't hire the person that should be doing it. And don't feel like you need to hire just one person. It costs me the same to have 5 people that do little individual things as to hire one person that is actually qualified to do those 5 different things.
Do all of it. Right.
So don't feel like you can't have multiple people that specialize in the pieces that you're looking for.
Exactly.
Because I have Susan that does my website stuff because can I do it? Yes, I absolutely can. Do I want to do it? Absolutely not. I hate doing that with a passion. So I have Susan that does that for me, and she helps me do a little OBM stuff here and there. I've got Sandra that I've talked to that does some basic VA and does goal accountability with me. I have TJ who does Pinterest for me, and I have Gina, who is my high level OBM that does some real major structure things for me. And I have Allison who does engagement for me. And I have all of those people. I actually had to count this week how many I have. I have 14 people that I outsource things to.
Wow. And see, that's great.
Again, I'm in an agency.
You're not, right. And you're not using them on a consistent basis as far as like every single day, but it's nice to have those people available to you on your team when you need them.
Exactly.
So it's not that you have to, what I find some clients saying is, I'm afraid I'm going to hire too many people and then things will go badly and I won't be able to pay them. And then I'll have to get rid of them. That's not necessarily the case. You need to find people who are willing to just kind of be, on standby when you need them. With that said, you need to make sure you're giving them some notice when you need them. If you're going to hire a team like that and have like Danielle has 14 people that she outsources to, those 14 people are not just waiting in the wings for work every single day. They're just waiting for her to say, hey, I need something in 2 days, or I need something next week. Keep in mind that if you have people that you're outsourcing to, you need to give them some notice before you send work their way, because the one thing that will cause not just failure, on your part and the VA's part or the team's part, but also some hard feelings, is just constantly dropping things at the last minute into their laps.
And even if
That's
you have
not
a VA that is your VA that you can just drop things on, you should minimum 24-hour turnaround time. Minimum.
Try to give them some notice. That's the one difficulty I faced with some clients, is that they feel like because they have me for 20 hours a month, that they can just drop things at a moment's notice, and I'm going to drop everything else.
They feel like they own you.
Right. They feel like I can just drop everything else. They're not my only client. And that's one thing it's very important to keep in mind. When you're hiring a VA, you're hiring a business owner. You're not hiring an employee. This is not your employee who is at your beck and call. This is someone who is a contractor. They have their own business, and they have other clients. You are not their only client. So it's important to respect their time and be aware that, okay, I need something. I need to give them a little notice. Obviously, emergencies come up. We all understand that. It's not like we don't understand, but we need to keep that to a minimum if we can, so that we can provide excellent service to everybody else.
So I explain to my clients when I start with them, there are emergencies in your business. Your emergencies are your website is down. Mm-hmm. You can't access your social media, and there are things that you need to do in there immediately. And somebody has died and you can't offer your services to your clients. Those are the only emergencies that there are in the online world. I'm sorry. Now, I have IT clients who 90% of everything they need is always an emergency, and it's actually an emergency because they can't do their jobs. So if it cripples your client's ability to offer service to their clients, it's an emergency. A new landing page because you decided last night at 2 a.m. that you want to do a new coaching program is not an emergency.
Exactly.
A new social media post because they decided that they wanted to change the coaching program is also not an emergency. Those are a minimum of 24-hour notice. And a client that throws something at me or one of my VAs and says, it's an emergency, I need it done right away. That's fine. There is $100 upcharge on that item. Minimum. Because you are not
everybody up for failure.
A full-time employee. Right. Now, if you are looking for a VA that you want to do that for, there are VAs. I do have a level that allows for that white glove service, but that is $75 an hour, a minimum of 40 hours a month.
Right.
My normal VA stuff is between $20 and $40 an hour.
Right.
So you pay a premium price for that kind of thing.
Right.
Know that when you're looking to hire somebody, you're not hiring an employee. Again, like Susan says, we all own our own businesses and we do other things. So make sure that you are setting everybody up for success. That's the biggest thing in this world, to set yourself and your VA up for success.
Right. Exactly. And that also involves, just making sure that you keep in touch with your VA, make sure they have all the information they need to do their work properly, and to your satisfaction. I mean, it sets you up, like we're saying, it sets you up for success. It sets them up for success. It basically, if the VA can't reach you or they don't have all the information they need, work essentially stops. And then the VA gets frustrated because they can't get the information from you. You're busy, you're traveling, whatever, you're not able to give them the information or don't even realize they're trying to reach you. Just kind of keep those lines of communication open. And, does your VA need to know every move you make every day and where you are at all times? No, but they do need to know if you're going out of town, out of the country, they do need to know those things so that they know whether they can reach you or not. And I've had clients just go AWOL they just disappear. And, I'm in another country. Really?
And you wanted me to do what with the information that you dumped on me that I don't have 90% of?
Right. Well, and it's not only that. I mean, maybe you have the information you have and you need to do the work, but maybe there's a question you have and it's, your client is now in another time zone and they're sleeping because they're in another time zone. It's just one of those, keeping the lines of communication open. And like I said, your VA does not need to know every move you make, but they do need to know if you're, a basic schedule. If you're going out of town or you're not available or you're taking vacation, they just need to know that. And that's just, I call that common courtesy actually, because it's not that you're having to be accountable to them or report to them or anything like that. It's just keeping them informed as a business. You are a business owner, so are they. It's just keeping your VA informed. Hey, I'm going to be out of town for a few days. You might not be able to reach me. That's all it takes.
It may take longer for you to get something done so that VA can look at her schedule and say, okay, if I need to ask questions on this, I need to know 2 days ahead of when I'm going to do it so that there's time for me to get the information I need.
Right. Exactly.
Simple scheduling.
Yep, it is. It is.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation with Susan today. I am so happy that Susan was able to join me. And I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I'm hoping to do some more things like this with Susan because Susan and I have these conversations about our clients, about potential VAs, hiring a VA. I am in the process of trying to hire a VA or multiple VAs. I need like a staff. I'm adding 12 people to my staff over the next 120 days. And the people filling out applications that I've had to vent to Susan because I just can't believe what I'm getting. So really take a look and listen to what Susan and I talk about. And I hope I'll have Susan back here with us at some point.
Yes, definitely.
And let's really expand and grow your VA businesses. Because it is possible to be successful and do this. I mean, Susan and I support ourselves completely doing this. So it is absolutely possible.
It is.
Have a great day, everybody. Have a great day, everybody. Remember to rise strong and become limitless. Have a good one.